like to call this regular board meeting to order.
Okay, for Monday, October 5th, 2015, regular board education meeting, Mr. Demakia.
Yes.
Mr. Fallis.
Present.
Mr. Smith.
Present.
Mr. Sturgill.
Here.
And Mr. Williams.
Here.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, Dr. Graham, board members and guests. My name is Leila Flores, and I'm the principal at Frank Jacinto Elementary School. I'm here tonight to support my student along with two teachers, Ms. Gleason and Ms. Major. And tonight, our student is Isaac Lagarde, and he will be saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, Dr. Graham, board members and guests. Each year, Americans observe National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th by celebrating the histories, cultures, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central and South America. The observation started in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon Johnson and was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 to cover a 30-day period starting on September 15th and ending on October 15th. It was enacted into law on August 17, 1988, on the approval of the Public Law 100-402. The day of September 15th is significant because it is the anniversary of independence from many Latin American countries. In addition, Mexico and Chile represent their independence days on September 16th and September 18th. Also, Columbus Day, or Dia de la Raza, which is October 12th, falls within this 30 days. The activities that take place during the month in cities with large Hispanic populations focus on how Latinos have made the United States a richer and more interesting place to live. They include performances by Latino musical groups, lectures about Hispanic life, and special awards presentations to Latinos who have made significant achievements in business, education, or the arts. In Washington, D.C., Hispanic members of Congress and other political leaders sponsor an annual dinner at which awards are presented. Currently, there are 19,358 Hispanics living in our city, the majority being of Puerto Rican and Mexican descent. And there are 265,762 Hispanics in Ohio. At Frank Jacinto, we're currently celebrating Hispanic heritage by having an artistic display of arts and crafts from Puerto Rico. Here's an example, and it's called a Vigilante costume and mask. Thank you and have a great evening.
Guys, can you do me a favor? First of all, fantastic job. Can you do me a favor and introduce your family? Brought a big following tonight. Come on up to the microphone if you would, please. That's fantastic.
This is my sister, Shatavia Jones.
Hi, everyone.
This is my mother, Shakira Jones. This is my sister, Daphne Brown. And my other sister, Isis Lagarde.
This is the costume.
Fantastic.
Put it up, Isis.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful.
And these are the masks that are used in the festivals in Puerto Rico, Ponce. Many of our students are using these and they are displaying them. So if you come to our building, you're going to see a table full of them.
Very, very cool. Thank you. Also, I thank Ms. Flores, Ms. Gleason, and Ms. Major for showing up tonight. Thank you. Isaac appreciates that. I know you have a lot of things going on, busy days, and he's come hang out with us on a Monday night. So thank you very much.
All right. Bastante bien.
Oh, boy.
Show off. Yeah, what he said.
Recognition of visitors.
Once in a while.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight we have Do the Right Thing.
President Demakia, Superintendent Dr. Graham, Treasurer Mr. Weber, and distinguished board members. Officer Gressler, if you would join me. And could I have Zyla Glover up here with me? Zylea, thank you, I appreciate that. And I even wrote it, so I got
Beautiful name.
to do that. This young lady here is and we have the principal with us also. Here, if you want to join us there. Mr. Hilko. This young lady here, if you don't mind, come on right around the corner. I don't want to take you out of the picture. You're the
Star of the show.
Main event.
Zylea has been helping a visually impaired student to in her physical education class for the past 2 years. Not only has the student learned how to skip, gallop, and do a variety of warm-up stretches, she can also throw a football. She has also shared her time and patience in helping this young girl master many activities. She has also helped her with computer classes. Outstanding effort in sharing her skills and time with this student is why I have nominated her for the Do the Right Thing program. I am the physical education teacher for both students, and I am very impressed with the improvement in gross motor skills of our visually impaired student, as well as the maturity and kindness displayed by Zylea, if I did that right that time. And Mrs. North Patterson is your gym teacher, correct? Very good. Well, on behalf of the Lorain Police Department, they would like to give you...
Present you with this. It's the award right here. Congratulations. And
also on behalf of Lorain Morning Journal, Lorain City Schools, and the Lorain Police Department, there are some good things in that envelope, which what I told you. What was the secret? I would also like to have Mom and the cousin stand up, please. Thank you. One more thing. You're going to stand right up front here, and the board members and the treasurer superintendent, and you're going to get a picture.
First hearing in the public. Need a motion to approve or amend and sign the minutes for the special board meetings held on September 14th and September 28th.
And let's take these one at a time because I think all of us
Sure.
are here. So do September 14th first.
Motion to approve minutes for September 14th, special meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
And Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
And motion to approve signed minutes from September 28th, 2015, special meeting.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Roll call.
Who was second? Mr. Fallis?
Second would have been Mr.
Fallis.
Fallis.
Okay.
Correct.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
I was not present, I abstain.
And Mr. Demakia?
Yes. Any old business? Report and recommendations of the treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Demakia. A couple items on the docket. Item 8.02 are some standard donations. Item 8.01 is a treasurer search services. It's not a recommendation. Have a little discussion hopefully this evening. There's OSBA and there's OASBO, are two of the more prominent search firms. I did not speak with Lorain County ESC yet for this project. So I see documentation over the weekend regarding services and whatnot. I'd like to hear some discussion from the board. If you do want to try Lorain County USC, we can certainly postpone decision on this. It's October, we have time to do that. So what would your thoughts be on the search firm for the treasurer? I'm retiring in June 2016.
You think?
And so that's what we're on the docket this evening for. So,
Was that a maybe?
not a maybe, sir.
Well, after reviewing the information you submitted to us, it certainly, the OSBA options seem to be very, very much more comprehensive based upon, compared with the the other one. OASBO.
OASBO, right.
Yes. So, I mean, it's always nice to have 3 choices when you're looking at trying to select a vendor for Lorain City Schools. So I think it'd be nice to have another choice because the one was certainly far superior. The OSBA one was far superior and less costly than the other option.
And I'm content with the OSBA. We've used different folks in the past, so we have some experience in terms of, though it wasn't specific to a treasure search, their overall process and engagement. We're familiar with the view, and based on what you submitted, what are your thoughts, Mr. Weber?
I have not worked with OSBA for treasurer search before.
Okay.
And I know some of the guys for OASBO. I worked with those guys for the last 8 years on some committees. I like the guys, but to be honest, I don't have a preference. I saw that the OSBA looks more comprehensive on paper. They have that thing called the Achiever, which is some web-based things to try to get some metrics on emotions and demeanors of treasurers and whatnot. I truly don't have an opinion on either one of them.
But you have worked with
OASBO I worked with before.
and you're very comfortable with them.
Very comfortable with OASBO.
Is there specialty towards anything, any specific type of administrator?
The executive director of OASBO is the former treasurer of, I believe it was Dublin Schools. It was David Varda. I've known him since 2008. He's very good. I think you know him too, don't you? And they also work with, I think, Paul Pendleton and Dan Wilson, who is a treasurer at Mentor, who has been around forever, also very well respected treasurers. So, do you have anything to add, Dr. Green?
I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay. But like I said, I don't have a preference.
If I may, I agree with Mr. Fallis. I was very satisfied with the services in the superintendent search by the Educational Service Center of Lorain County. I think we ought to at least give them a chance. Secondly, I don't know that we need to start a search this early. I think it's actually too early. There'll be a lot of candidates that may not even decide they're looking for another job until January or February, and might not feel comfortable announcing that they are this early in this present school year. We have plenty of time to. We were fortunate the last time in that Dale was available, had been in the district as an assistant treasurer. How many years, Dale?
I was there for almost 3.
Yeah, and had gotten his experience in Olmsted. Was he in Olmsted Falls?
Olmsted Falls as treasurer, correct.
Yeah, so, but I don't think we're in any rush to do that, and it may be best that the board next year makes a decision, not us tonight, so. But I'd like to see at least what the Service Center of Lorain County might offer and compare it to the other two. Thank you.
I also think at least 2 or maybe even 3 would come out for a presentation if you wanted to see a presentation on the services. I believe that all probably 3 do that.
Okay.
If you want to go so far as to do
I
that.
like that idea too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's much better if you know who you're dealing with than just looking at a piece of paper. I mean, that could be a difference maker just by having those interviews. I would agree with Mr. Smith.
I believe we used OSBA the last time to do a search before we got Mr. Weber. Certainly that worked out for us, I think. But I do think that having the Educational Service Center as part of the mix may not be a bad idea. They did do a pretty good job in the superintendent search, and we got a great candidate out of that search, so maybe consideration for that. And I don't know if we don't need to vote on this. Couldn't we amend it to include? Because this is just considering these folks to do the search, so I don't see why we couldn't amend
We
it.
can just pull it for this evening.
We don't need to take action.
Right.
We just-
No.
You pull it, and I'll get the guys in here presentation.
Okay.
My opinion also is, I don't think it's too early yet, because, for simple reason that by the time we get the process in place and documentation, and the holidays coming up, okay, and that person will want to probably give his or her board a notice too that they're going to leave. So if we had it, chosen first quarter of 2016, I don't think that's too early.
I certainly agree. I think I'd feel a lot more comfortable if we got this process rolling and we at least had a direction that we're moving in to find. Because to be honest with you, again, the last time we did a search for both superintendent and a treasurer, the reality is that not everybody's fit for Lorain City School District. We are unique. We are still a very large district with a lot of different financial entities that create a complex district. So what you're going to find is you're going to find a lot of candidates that just aren't fit for this district. So being ahead of the game certainly I think would be beneficial for us, and the sooner we can get this moving, the less stress I think we'll have with this, because two most difficult positions and the most important positions in the district are trying to find a great superintendent and a great treasurer. And, we were fortunate to get a decent treasurer. I meant, Dale certainly has...
Sometimes you luck out.
Certainly, yeah, he's done all right. No, he is a great treasurer, and we're certainly going to be happy.
I think he has a future
that
career as some kind of a chef. He likes to bake.
As long as he doesn't leave for Mexico the next month after he retires, we're probably safe.
So I will pull 8.01.
Good.
And I'm understanding you want to see some presentations?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
No problem.
Just give him a time limit, would you?
Pardon?
Just give him a time limit. We don't need 3-hour presentations from the three of them.
10 minutes. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, so just 8.02 then for donations on the agenda for approval. Motion second and a vote.
Motion to approve 8.02.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
And Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Report and recommendation of superintendent.
All right, the board to consider the approval of an administrative appointment, and that's the Assistant Director of Special Education. And Dr. Monachino, if you could please introduce our guest this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Graham. Thank you, Board of Education. It's my pleasure to introduce Kelly Posty. Kelly holds a master's degree in special education from Notre Dame University and an administrative license from Ashland University. She has been in education for 11 years. She served in the capacity of an intervention specialist and a special education supervisor for Cleveland and Parma schools. Please join me in welcoming Kelly Posty.
Kelly, anything you'd like to say?
I just want to thank Dr. Graham, the board, and the community for giving me this opportunity. I don't have anything formally prepared, but I'm really excited about being on board, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with all of you. So thank you very much.
You left out a very important part, Kelly.
What was that?
That's Jim, by the way. You get used to it.
We met earlier.
I'm sure you have.
This is not for journal paper.
It's off the record.
Well, you can do it if you want. She forgot to tell you that she's Irish-Croatian, which will fit
Yeah.
right into Lorain.
I did. I'm sorry I left that out.
See, it's something else we have in common.
Thank you. Okay, I would like to withdraw 9.02. 9.03, I'd like to consider the approval of a sub-administrator. 9.04, consider the approval of certified staff appointments. 9.05, consider the approval of support staff appointments. 9.06, consider the approval of support staff resignations. 9.07, consider the approval of leave of absences. 9.08, consider the approval of professional development APEX training for teachers. 9.09, consider the approval of professional development, Apex training for support staff. 9.10, consider the approval of professional development for instructional technology for support staff. Consider the approval of ETR rating and PS summer assessments. Consider the approval of supplemental contracts for the 2015-2016 school year for non-certified staff. 9.13, consider the approval of special education supplemental contracts for the 2015-2016 school year. 9.14, consider the approval of the limited academic supplemental contracts for certified staff for the 2015-2016 school year. And 9.15, consider the approval of the career tech supplemental contracts for the 2015-2016 school year.
With one correction.
And 9.13, I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
9.14, we're just going to pull the Cheryl DeFranco's because we might be a mistake on there. And we'll correct that. We're going to look at it, we're not sure. It's on there twice, and we're just going to pull it to get it
Different
fixed up.
amounts.
Okay, so 9.14 is up for approval except for Cheryl DeFranco, only because it looks like it might be an error. We're not sure, so.
Okay, so we need a motion for 9.01 and 9.15, excluding 9.02 and Cheryl DeFranco.
Motion to approve item 9.01 and items 9.03 through 9.15, excluding Cheryl DeFranco on item 9.14.
So moved.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
And Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
I'd like the board to consider the approval of 9.02, administrative staff resignation.
I need a motion.
I pulled
9.02.
9.02, the resignation of a staff member who happens to be the treasurer sitting to my right.
If you
At
don't
the
get a
board
motion,
president's
then that
request.
just falls off the table.
That's
right?
correct. He would work here forever. It's Dale's resignation. I was asked to pull that and go at it separate.
Stay with us.
Motion to approve.
What if he changes his mind by then?
I will second
You're done.
that.
What's that again, sir?
If we pass this, you can't change your mind. You're done. Sure you want us to do that?
Mr. Williams
I
said.
second it.
So it did get the motion. Discussion.
Yeah, we'll talk more as we move along here, Dale, because you're going to be around for a while. We don't want to say too many nice things right now.
Okay.
Roll call.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
And Mr. Demakia?
No.
Duly noted, sir.
Yes.
And again, very briefly, I've only worked with Dale now for a couple of months, but very impressed, and I appreciate collaboration, open honesty, candor, and the great working relationship that we have. I also appreciate, I think it's very selfless on his part to give his resignation so early, as Mr. Smith mentioned. It does commit him to something. He could change his mind on later, but it does give the district time to plan, so very gracious. I'd like to consider the 10.01, the approval of a contract with Andrew Gressler for security services delivered during the 2015-2016 school year, and this is homecoming. 10.02, consider the approval of a contract with DJ Los for services delivered during the 2015-2016 school year, again, homecoming. Consider the approval of a resolution for transportation in lieu of. 10.04, consider the approval of a lease agreement with Norfolk Southern Railway Company for LCS warehouse access, extending the length of the back of the building, which is an agreement we've had forever, as I understand it. 10.06, consider the approval of a resolution for transportation in lieu.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm sorry? 5 years?
What?
I'm sorry, I'm getting a...
It's 10.05.
It's also a warehouse.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. 10.05, consider the approval of roof repairs at the LCS warehouse. 10.06, consider the approval of a resolution for transportation in lieu. 10.07, consider approval of a resolution for transportation in lieu of for the 2014-15 school year that we missed. 10.08, consider the approval of a contract with Hunter Educational Capital to seek corporate sponsorship for the Lorain City School District's football stadium. And again, that's a marketing firm that we're seeking an agreement with at no cost to the district unless we strike an agreement that we have final say on, the board has final say on. And what we're trying to do is be respectful to our taxpayers and try to seek out non-traditional ways to provide resources for our students. 10.09, consider the approval of a contract with the Educational Service Center of Lorain. And 10.10, consider the approval of a contract with James W. Chappell to provide professional development.
Okay, need a motion for 10.01 to 10.10.
Motion to approve items 10.01 to 10.10.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
And Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
I did want to make one comment because the discussion went so quick. The roof for the warehouse is the new warehouse, not the old one.
That is correct.
I hope so. Any new business?
I don't know if these are on the open.
Committee reports and requests from board members?
I just want to update, there has been no legislation passed.
Great.
I did get some additional information about the lawsuit that's been filed in Youngstown against the state regarding the amendments on House Bill 10 that is moving along. They're questioning the speed on which the amendments were passed. The law requires 3 readings for an amendment. There was one reading. It was rushed through. They're also using a civil rights approach, I was told today, and talked to someone in Youngstown, in that, does the state have the right to overrule the vote of the people? Or is that, in fact, a civil rights violation of the Constitution of the United States? Because that's what it would amount to. It would allow the state to come in and replace the school board and ignore the vote of the people. So, from what I read in the Chronicle the other day, I believe it was the Chronicle. By the way, Admiral King graduate is the superintendent now in Youngstown. He was one of the finalists here 3 years ago, Mr. Steve Stola. And he was quoted in the story as saying that if there's not an injunction, that's what they're asking for, an injunction, which would stop the takeover from happening now. But as he said, if that injunction is not granted and the state comes in the next couple, 3 weeks and removes the board and the superintendent and replaces them, then it's going to be hard to get the genie back into the bottle, I think is what he said. So, other than that, there is has been no action out of either house. There's 3 bills that have been passed, but I reported on them a number of months ago, so nothing new.
Thank you. Second hearing in the public. There is some conversation on our next board meeting, which is supposed to be held October 19th at 6:30. I believe Mr. Weber has recommended we cancel the October 19th meeting, moving it to October 26th.
Correct.
So he can have more time to prepare his 5-year forecast and make it a little more accurate. Thoughts? Objections?
I mean, we can still do it. I indicated I have a standing board meeting on the 4th Monday of each month, which is the 26th. So,
Well, since it's going to be a special meeting, we can have it the next day. On a Tuesday, we could have it on a Wednesday. It's already a special meeting, so probably better if we're all able to be here.
can you maybe send out another?
The 27th would be a Tuesday, the 28th would be a Wednesday, right?
Sure, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, send it out, we can leave it open.
If it is a special board meeting, we do it on 27th. Can we start it earlier?
Sure. Anytime you want to.
Okay. Can we do
Okay with everybody, 27th?
Let me double check.
27th, 5 o'clock start? 5:30?
For me.
Okay.
That's fine. Is that all right with you, Tim?
I think so.
Dr. Graham,
I don't have my schedule with me.
Okay.
So the 27th at 5:30 is the next board meeting after this.
Special board meeting, okay.
Okay, very
Okay.
good.
Perfect.
5:30 you said, right?
Thank you.
Very good.
And we need an executive session. I need a motion to go executive session for item D, preparing for conducting or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment.
Motion to go into executive session.
Support.
For the stated reasons.
Discussion? Roll
For
call.
item D,
D.
D is in David, right?
Correct.
Item, okay, Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Fallis,
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
and Mr. Demakia.
Yes. And
7:07.
we will not be coming back taking any action, so you don't have to hang out. See you on the 27th.
Thank you.
Now get out.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools TV 20 WLCS.
To purchase a high-quality copy of the program you just viewed, please call Lorain City Schools Television at 282-8400.